A 3-year-old girl from Pennsylvania, undergoing treatment for a chronic illness, vanished from her hospital room in the dead of night. Her disappearance left medical staff stunned and her parents heartbroken. 2 years of searching turned up nothing but dead ends and sorrow, and the case of the missing sick child went cold. Then maintenance workers, deep in the city's sewer system, came across something that had washed through the storm drains, a discovery that would expose a chilling secret. Nathan Hartley stared at the quarterly budget report on his laptop, the numbers blurring as he struggled to focus. The house was too quiet this Tuesday morning, the same deafening silence that had settled in every corner since Meera disappeared 2 years ago. He took a sip of lukewarm coffee and tried to concentrate on the data. His cell phone's sharp ring made him jump, nearly spilling coffee on the keyboard. The number was unfamiliar, a local Pennsylvania area code, but not one he recognized. He almost let it go to voicemail. Most unexpected calls these days were telemarketers or well-meaning acquaintances offering sympathy years too late. But something compelled him to answer. Nathan Hartley. Mr. Hartley, this is Detective Patricia Walsh with the Pittsburgh Police Department. The woman's voice was professional, but an undercurrent of tension immediately put him on edge. I need to speak with you about your daughter's case. The laptop screen was instantly forgotten. Nathan's grip on the phone tightened until his knuckles turned white. In 2 years, the calls about Meera had stopped. The case had gone cold. The investigators had moved on to new tragedies. What about it? He asked, his voice rough. Sir, I think it would be best if we discuss this in person. Can you come to the station? We've had a development that requires your immediate attention. Just tell me, he insisted. Did you find her? Is she? Detective Walsh paused. This morning, a crew doing maintenance in the sewer system near the Allegheny River made a discovery. They found items we have reason to believe belong to your daughter. The room seemed to spin. Nathan grabbed the edge of his desk. What items? A wheelchair, Mr. Hartley. A pediatric wheelchair with an oxygen tank still attached. The serial numbers match the equipment listed in your daughter's hospital records. Nathan closed his eyes, and suddenly he was back in that hospital room 2 years ago. He'd woken up at 5:30 that morning, just like always. Nicole had worked a double shift and was sleeping soundly beside him. He'd showered quietly, dressed in the dark, and driven to UPMC Children's Hospital, planning to spend an hour with Meera before his morning meetings. The elevator ride to the pediatric ward was routine. He'd nodded to the tired night nurse at the station, who was reading a magazine. He walked down the hall to room 314, the one with the butterfly stickers Meera had insisted on putting on the door. He'd pushed it open, already smiling, ready to see his daughter's face light up. The bed was empty. Not just empty, but abandoned. The sheets were pulled back, her stuffed elephant on the floor. The monitors that should have been recording her oxygen levels and heart rate were dark, their leads dangling uselessly. Her blue wheelchair, decorated with superhero stickers, was gone. For a moment, he stood frozen in the doorway, his mind unable to process the scene. Maybe they'd taken her for tests. Maybe she was in the bathroom with a nurse. Maybe. But the commotion in the hallway, the sudden convergence of security and staff, the frantic checking of other rooms, confirmed what the empty bed was telling him. Meera was gone. Mr. Hartley? Detective Walsh's voice pulled him back to the present. Are you still there? The wheelchair, he managed. You're sure it's hers? The serial numbers match, and there are personal modifications that align with what you reported. The superhero stickers, specifically. Sir, I need you to understand. The wheelchair was found in a section of the sewer system that connects to several storm drains. Our forensics team is examining it now. Nathan's mind raced. The sewers? Why would Meera's wheelchair be in the sewers? How long has it been there? That's what's so unusual. The detective's tone grew more careful. The maintenance crew chief has been working these tunnels for 15 years. He says based on the condition and the sediment patterns, the wheelchair couldn't have been there for more than a few weeks, maybe a couple of months at most. It appears to have washed in during the heavy rains last month. But she disappeared 2 years ago. Yes, sir. That's one of the things we need to discuss. The evidence suggests the wheelchair was disposed of recently, dumped somewhere upstream, and carried through the system by storm water. The implication hit Nathan like a physical blow. Someone had kept Meera's wheelchair for 2 years, and then suddenly decided to get rid of it. Which meant, I need to call my wife, he said, already standing, looking for his keys. We'll be there as soon as possible. Of course. Ask for me at the front desk. And Mr. Hartley, I'm very sorry. I know this must be incredibly difficult. Nathan ended the call and immediately dialed Nicole's number. She was probably sleeping after her night shift, but this couldn't wait. As the phone rang, he grabbed his jacket and headed for the door, his mind spinning with questions. Why now? Why dump the wheelchair after 2 years? And most importantly, what did this mean for Meera? Was his daughter still alive somewhere? Or was someone finally cleaning up loose ends? Nicole answered on the 5th ring, her voice heavy with sleep. Nathan, what's wrong? They found Meera's wheelchair in the sewer system. The police want us to come in right away. The silence on the other end stretched for several seconds. Then Nicole's voice, fully awake now and sharp with a mixture of hope and dread, said, I'll meet you there. The Pittsburgh Police Department's evidence room smelled of industrial disinfectant, trying to mask something worse. Nathan stood beside Nicole, their hands intertwined, as Detective Walsh led them past rows of metal shelving to a cleared examination area. Under the harsh fluorescent lights, on a blue tarp spread across a steel table, sat Meera's wheelchair. Nathan's breath caught. Even caked with grime and sediment, he recognized it immediately. The blue frame was dulled, but patches of the original color showed through. The oxygen tank, still secured to the back, was tarnished but intact. And there, barely visible under a layer of dried mud, were the remnants of superhero stickers: Spider-Man's red mask, Captain America's shield, Wonder Woman's golden lasso. Oh God, Nicole whispered beside him, her grip on his hand tightening painfully. Detective Walsh stood on the opposite side of the table, her expression carefully neutral. I know this is difficult. Can you confirm this is your daughter's wheelchair? Nathan nodded, not trusting his voice. He reached toward it, then stopped, looking at the detective for permission. You can touch it, she said. We've already processed it for evidence, photographed everything, and taken samples. His fingers found one of the stickers, the Batman symbol, partially scraped away, but still recognizable. Meera had placed it there herself, insisting on decorating her chariot, as she called it. She'd been so proud of how it looked. The maintenance crew found it lodged against a grate about 2 miles into the tunnel system, Detective Walsh explained. Based on the debris patterns and watermarks, our forensics team estimates it washed in during the heavy storms last month. But here's what's significant. Look at the overall condition. Nathan forced himself to examine it more clinically. Despite the sewage coating, the wheelchair's frame showed minimal rust. The fabric seat, while stained, wasn't rotted through. The oxygen tank's valve mechanism, though dirty, appeared relatively intact. It hasn't been in water for 2 years, Nicole said, voicing what they were all thinking. She was using her nurse's voice, analytical, detached, the tone she adopted when dealing with difficult cases at work. Exactly, Detective Walsh said. If this had been in the system since your daughter's disappearance, we'd expect to see significant deterioration. The metal would be severely corroded. The fabric would be gone. Instead, what we're looking at is equipment that's been stored somewhere dry for an extended period, then recently discarded. Someone kept it, Nathan said, the words feeling heavy in his mouth. Someone kept her wheelchair for 2 years, and then just threw it away. That's our working theory. The question is why now? Why keep it this long only to dump it? Detective Walsh set down the tablet. We're checking all storm drains and access points in a 5-mile radius, trying to determine where it entered the system. We've also issued a bolo for any similar medical equipment turning up. A knock on the door interrupted them. A uniformed officer leaned in. Detective, the medical consultant is here. Dr. Kelner, send him in, Walsh said. She turned to Nathan and Nicole. I took the liberty of calling in a specialist to examine the equipment. Dr. Kelner was your daughter's pulmonologist at Children's Hospital. He's agreed to help us understand if the oxygen tank was used recently and check for any modifications that might tell us more. Nathan remembered Dr. Kelner, a quiet, professional man who'd always taken the time to explain Meera's treatment in terms they could understand. He'd been one of the few bright spots during those long hospital months. The door opened again, and Dr. Kelner entered. He looked much as Nathan remembered, mid-40s, neatly trimmed graying hair, wearing a conservative gray suit instead of hospital scrubs. His eyes went first to the wheelchair, then to Nathan and Nicole. Mr. and Mrs. Hartley, he said softly. I'm so sorry you're going through this. When Detective Walsh called, I came immediately. Thank you for coming, Nicole said. We appreciate it. Dr. Kelner moved to the table, pulling on latex gloves with practiced efficiency. He examined the oxygen tank carefully, checking the gauge, the regulator, and the connection points. This is definitely hospital-grade equipment, the model we used for Meera. He paused, running his fingers along the valve. The seal's been broken recently. Within the last few months, I'd estimate. If this had been sealed for 2 years, we'd see different oxidation patterns around the threading. So it was used? Detective Walsh asked, taking notes. Recently used? Yes. The pressure gauge shows it's nearly empty. That suggests active use, not long-term storage. He looked up at Nathan and Nicole. I'm sorry. I know this raises more questions than it answers. Nathan stared at the wheelchair, his mind reeling. Someone had taken his daughter, kept her somewhere for 2 years, used her medical equipment, and now, for some reason, they were getting rid of the evidence. What does this mean? Nicole asked Detective Walsh. Are you saying someone had her all this time? The detective's expression was grim. We can't draw definitive conclusions yet, but the evidence suggests. She paused, choosing her words carefully. The pattern we're seeing is consistent with someone disposing of evidence. Perpetrators often do this when they're preparing to relocate or when the victim is no longer alive, Nathan finished. The words felt like glass in his throat. Detective Walsh nodded slowly. I'm sorry, but yes, that's one possibility we have to consider. We're going to need to go through everything again. Everyone who had access to Meera, anyone who might have had motive or opportunity. Dr. Kelner will need your records from her treatment as well. Of course, the doctor said. Anything I can do to help. Meera she was a special little girl, he added. So brave through all her treatments. As they prepared to leave, Nathan took one last look at the wheelchair. Somewhere out there, someone knew what had happened to his daughter. Someone who'd kept her wheelchair for 2 years, who'd recently used her oxygen tank, who'd finally decided to throw it all away. But why now? What had changed? Nathan stood in the spare bedroom they'd converted into medical storage, staring at the shelves lined with supplies they'd accumulated during Meera's illness. Boxes of pediatric masks, sealed packages of tubing, bottles of saline solution, and medications. Thousands of dollars worth of equipment that had become part of their daily routine until that morning 2 years ago. He picked up a box of medications, checking the expiration dates. Most would be good for another few months, but some were nearing their limits. The irony wasn't lost on him. Holding on to these supplies had been his way of maintaining hope, of being ready for when Meera came home. But after this morning's revelation at the police station, that hope felt more fragile than ever. Nicole had gone back to bed after they got home, emotionally drained. She had another night shift and needed rest. Nathan couldn't sleep. The image of that mud-caked wheelchair kept replaying in his mind. He started sorting the supplies into 2 piles, expired and still viable. The expired medications would need proper disposal, but the sealed, unexpired items could help other families, other children with cystic fibrosis who needed these exact supplies. It felt like giving up, but it also felt necessary. He couldn't let medicine go to waste when someone could use it. By early afternoon, he'd filled 3 boxes with donations. The CVS on Grant Street had a medical supply donation program. He loaded everything into his car and drove the 10 minutes through light traffic. The pharmacy was busy for a Tuesday. Nathan maneuvered his boxes through the automatic doors, heading for the pharmacy counter at the back. As he rounded the vitamin aisle, he nearly collided with someone pushing a cart loaded with medical supplies. "Oh, sorry," Nathan began, and then recognized the man. Dr. Kelner. The doctor looked up from his cart, which Nathan now saw contained several portable oxygen tanks, the same type they'd used for Meera's emergency backup supply. "Mr. Hartley, I didn't expect to see you here. I'm donating some of Meera's unused supplies," Nathan said, gesturing to his boxes. "It seems wrong to let them expire when other families could use them." Dr. Kelner's expression softened with understanding. "That's very generous of you. I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision." Nathan glanced at the oxygen tanks in the doctor's cart. "Stocking up for the hospital," Dr. Kelner explained, adjusting his grip on the cart handle. "We've had some supply chain issues lately, and these portable units are perfect for transport between departments. The donation stations are a godsend when our regular suppliers fall short. I didn't realize hospitals could buy from regular pharmacies. It's not ideal, but sometimes necessary, especially for smaller equipment." Dr. Kelner paused, studying Nathan with concern. "How are you holding up? This morning must have been incredibly difficult." Nathan found himself grateful for the doctor's kindness. "It's been rough. The not knowing is almost worse than knowing would be. I can only imagine. Meera was such a special little girl. That smile of hers could light up the entire ward. Dr. Kelner glanced at his watch. I should get these back to the hospital, but please, if you need anything, even just someone to talk to who understood Meera's condition, don't hesitate to call. Thank you, and thanks again for coming to the station this morning. It helped having someone there who knew her. Of course. Take care of yourself, Mr. Hartley. Nathan watched the doctor navigate toward the checkout with his cart of oxygen tanks, then continued to the pharmacy counter. The pharmacist, a young woman with kind eyes, helped him process the donation. These will really help families in need, she assured him. Pediatric CF supplies are always in demand. As Nathan filled out the donation paperwork, he found himself thinking about those oxygen tanks in Dr. Kelner's cart. Nathan watched the city lights fade in his rearview mirror as Dr. Kelner drove. The silver Honda Accord, unassuming and plain, was a stark contrast to the terror that had unfolded inside his home. His heart was still hammering against his ribs, a frantic rhythm against the quiet engine hum. You saw me at the pharmacy, Kelner said, his voice flat, a calm before the storm. That was careless. I should have been more careful, but I was running low on supplies. Nathan's mind raced, trying to put the pieces together. Supplies for what? Shut up, Kelner snapped, his composure finally cracking. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. You couldn't just leave it alone. The wheelchair should have been the end of it. Case closed. Everyone moves on, but you had to dig. Had to ask questions. Where is Meera? Nathan's voice was a whisper, but it cut through the tense silence. You think you were a good father? Kelner scoffed. Leaving a sick 3-year-old alone at that hospital? Some protector you were. Is she alive? Stop talking. The car turned off the highway, heading into a desolate, wooded area. Nathan tried to focus on his surroundings, searching for any landmarks. They passed an old abandoned factory, then crossed a small bridge over a creek. They were heading into the thick forests of the Laurel Highlands, a place where houses were few and far between. Those hospital suspensions, Nathan pressed, desperate to understand. They figured something out, didn't they? That's why you kept moving. They suspected, Kelner said, a bitter laugh escaping him. But they could never prove anything. Always watching, always questioning, making my work impossible. What work? What were you doing? You wouldn't understand, Kelner said, his voice a chilling mixture of arrogance and self-pity. No one understands. They see a doctor being thorough, spending extra time with patients, and they make it into something ugly. The words sent a shiver down Nathan's spine. Kelner turned off the paved road onto a dirt path. The trees closed in, the last remnants of civilization disappearing behind them. Nathan's phone was still in his pocket. He had to try something. Kelner must have read his mind. Throw your phone out the window. Nathan hesitated. The gun rose slightly, pointing directly at him. Do it now, or I'll take it from you after I shoot you in the leg. With a shaky hand, Nathan took out his phone, powered it down, and tossed it into the darkness. His only lifeline was gone. Good, Kelner said, relaxing his grip on the steering wheel. We're almost there. Then you'll finally understand everything. Maybe you'll even realize this is all partly your fault. My fault? You left her alone, vulnerable. If you'd been there that night, like a real father, none of this would have happened. But you were home, comfortable in your bed, while she needed protection. They turned onto a dirt road, headlights cutting through dense trees. Somewhere ahead was the answer to 2 years of questions. Nathan just prayed he'd live long enough to find out. She trusted me, Dr. Kelner said quietly, almost to himself. That's the tragedy in all this. She trusted me completely. The words sent a chill down Nathan's spine. Whatever this man had done to Meera, it was worse than just kidnapping. The way he spoke about trust, about being patient, about people making things ugly. Nathan was beginning to grasp the true horror his daughter had endured. The dirt road ended at a modest cabin nestled among towering pines. Motion sensor lights flickered on as they approached, illuminating a structure that looked deceptively normal. A wood cabin with a stone chimney, the kind of weekend retreat thousands of people in Pennsylvania owned. A generator hummed somewhere behind the building. Out, Dr. Kelner ordered, killing the engine. Nathan stepped into the cool mountain air, his legs wobbly after the tense drive. The isolation was absolute. No neighboring lights visible through the trees. No sounds except the generator and distant crickets. Even if he screamed, no one would hear. Dr. Kelner came around the car, gun steady. Inside. Try to run and I'll put a bullet in your knee. You don't need to walk to see what I'm going to show you. The front door opened into a living room that smelled of pine wood and antiseptic. Basic furniture, a fieldstone fireplace, and stairs leading up. But Nathan's attention was drawn to the medical equipment stacked along one wall, boxes of supplies, an oxygen concentrator for poles. Upstairs, Dr. Kelner directed. They climbed narrow wooden steps to a hallway with 3 doors. The doctor guided him to the last one, producing a key from his pocket. Multiple locks. Nathan noticed deadbolts installed from the outside. The door swung open, revealing a converted attic room. And there, sitting on a small bed with an oxygen cannula under her nose, was Meera. Nathan's knees nearly buckled. His daughter was alive but changed. She'd grown in 2 years, of course, taller, thinner, her blonde hair longer and tangled. She wore a faded hospital gown too small for her now 5-year-old frame. And 4 port was visible on her arm, though no line was currently attached. Meera? The word came out as a broken whisper. She looked up from a coloring book, her blue eyes, so like Nicole's, showing no recognition, just confusion and a hint of fear. Dr. Martin. Who's that man? Dr. Martin. She called him Dr. Martin. It's okay, sweetheart, Dr. Kelner said, his voice taking on a different, gentle, paternal quality. This is someone who wanted to meet you. Remember how I told you there might be visitors someday? Meera shrank back against the wall. I don't like visitors. You said visitors might try to take me away. You said they're bad people who don't understand. Nathan started forward instinctively, but the gun barrel pressing into his ribs stopped him. That's my daughter, you sick. Your daughter? Dr. Kelner's voice hardened. You gave up that right when you abandoned her. I gave her a home. Kept her safe for 2 years while you... What? Moved on with your life? Nathan looked around the room properly now, taking in the details. Medical equipment filled one corner. The oxygen concentrator he'd heard running. Boxes of medications. The portable tanks like the ones from the pharmacy. A small dresser held children's clothes. Drawings covered the walls, all signed Meera, in a child's scrawl. Pictures of a house, trees, birds, and over, a figure labeled Dr. Martin with a smiling face. No pictures of parents. No drawings of mommy or daddy. What did you tell her? Nathan's voice was hollow. The truth, from a certain perspective. That she was very sick and needed special care. That I'm the only one who understands her needs. That there are people who might try to interfere. You've brainwashed her. I've protected her. Dr. Kelner's composure was cracking. Do you know how fragile she is? How carefully her condition needs to be managed? You left her alone that night, alone. The nurses were overwhelmed. Always are. Too many patients, not enough time. But I had time. I made time. His eyes took on a distant quality. She was special. Different from the others. So trusting. So sweet. When she'd smile at me during treatments. The way he said it made Nathan's skin crawl. What did you do to her? I cared for her. Fed her. Gave her medications. Held her when she cried. The gun wavered slightly. She needed me. Still needs me. Meera, Nathan tried again, his voice gentle. Sweetheart, it's Daddy. Don't you remember me? The little girl tilted her head, studying him. For a moment, something flickered in her eyes. Then she shook her head firmly. My daddy went to heaven, Dr. Martin told me. He got sick and went to heaven with Mommy. The cruelty of the lie hit Nathan like a physical blow. You told her we were dead? It was easier than other explanations. Kinder, really. Kinder than what? But Nathan was beginning to understand. The locks on the door, the way Meera called him Dr. Martin, maintaining that professional distance even after 2 years. The defensive anger when questioned about his time with patients. A sound from outside cut through the tension. Tires on gravel, approaching fast. Multiple vehicles. Dr. Kelner moved to the small attic window, peering through the curtain. His face went pale. How? You threw away your phone. Nathan felt a surge of hope. Nicole. She must have come home, found signs of a struggle, called the police, his brilliant, observant wife. Meera, get in the closet, Dr. Kelner ordered, his calm shattering. Remember what we practiced? Hide until I say it's safe. Are the bad people here? Meera's voice was small, terrified. She scrambled off the bed, hurrying to a small closet. The practiced way she did it, the immediate obedience, showed this wasn't the first time she'd been told to hide. Outside, Nathan could hear car doors slamming, radio chatter, a voice amplified by a megaphone. Dr. Martin Kelner, this is the Pennsylvania State Police. We have the building surrounded. Exit with your hands visible. You've ruined everything, Dr. Kelner snarled at Nathan. Everything I've built here. She was happy. She was safe. From what? What was she safe from? From people who don't understand. From a system that sees everything as black and white. The doctor moved to the window again, gun still trained on Nathan. They'll twist everything. Make it into something disgusting. The police repeated their demand. Dr. Kelner paced the small room like a caged animal. 2 years. 2 years of keeping her healthy, giving her what she needed, and you had to destroy it. Dr. Kelner, the megaphone voice said again. We know Nathan Hartley is inside. We know Meera is alive. Let's resolve this peacefully. Send out the child. From the closet came a small whimper. Nathan's heart broke at the sound. His daughter, terrified, hiding from police who were there to save her. She won't survive without me, Dr. Kelner said, but the fight was draining from his voice. I know her needs. Every medication, every treatment. The little things that comfort her when she's scared. She needs her parents. Her real parents. Real parents don't leave sick children alone in hospitals. The gun wavered. Real parents don't trust strangers with their most precious. He cut himself off, jaw clenching. The house phone rang, an old landline on the dresser. Dr. Kelner stared at it, then gestured for Nathan to answer. Speakerphone. Nathan hit the button. Hello. Mr. Hartley, this is Lieutenant Sarah Foster with the state police. A woman's voice said, calm and professional. Are you injured? No. We're both okay. Meera's here. She's alive. That's wonderful news. We're going to get you all out safely. Can I speak with Dr. Kelner? The doctor leaned toward the phone, gun still pointed at Nathan, but his hand was shaking now. She won't understand. 2 years of routine, of trust. You'll destroy all of it. Doctor, we have pediatric specialists standing by. They'll ensure Meera receives the best care. You've kept her alive this long. Help us continue that care properly. Properly? His voice cracked with bitter laughter. You have no idea what proper care means. The time it takes, the patience, the special bond required. We understand you care about her, doctor. Show that care now by letting her get help. Dr. Kelner's face crumpled. The gun lowered slowly. She calls me daddy sometimes. When she's scared, when she needs comfort. Did he tell you that? Come outside, doctor. Let Meera be reunited with her family. Family? The word came out like poison. They don't deserve her. They never did. But the gun clattered to the floor. Dr. Kelner walked to the closet, kneeling beside it. Meera, the people outside are going to take you to a hospital. A new hospital? I don't want to go. Her voice was muffled, scared. I want to stay with you. You promised we'd always be together. I know, sweetheart, but sometimes things change. His voice broke. You're going to be okay. You're such a brave girl. My brave girl. He stood, hands raised, and walked toward the door. At the threshold, he paused, looking back at Nathan with undisguised hatred. You have no idea what you've taken from her. From both of us. Then he was gone. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. Nathan heard the front door open. Multiple voices shouting commands. Through the window, he could see Dr. Kelner on his knees in the dirt, officers surrounding him. Meera. Nathan approached the closet slowly. It's okay now. You can come out. The door opened a crack. One blue eye peered out at him, filled with tears and confusion. Are you really my daddy? Dr. Martin said you went to heaven. Nathan knelt beside the closet, his own tears flowing freely. Okay. I'm really your daddy, and I've been looking for you for such a long time. But Dr. Martin said, he said, her small voice trembled. He said he's the only one who loves me right. That other people would hurt me. The words were a knife to Nathan's heart. Whatever Dr. Kelner had done to his daughter, the psychological chains were as strong as any physical locks. But she was alive. After 2 years of not knowing, she was alive. No one's going to hurt you, Nathan promised. We're going to take care of you, your real mommy and daddy. Police officers appeared in the doorway, moving carefully, speaking in soft voices. One female officer approached slowly. Hi, Meera. I'm Officer Jamie. We're going to take you to see some nice doctors who will make sure you're feeling okay. Would that be all right? Meera looked between Nathan and the officer, her 5-year-old face etched with confusion and fear. Is Dr. Martin coming too? Dr. Martin needs to go somewhere else right now, Officer Jamie said gently. But you'll be safe. I promise. As they coaxed Meera from the closet, Nathan noticed how she kept looking toward the window, searching for the man who'd held her captive for 2 years. The man she still trusted more than anyone else in the world. Whatever Dr. Kelner had done to gain that trust, Nathan was certain it was worse than just kidnapping. The truth would come out eventually. But for now, his daughter was alive, and that had to be enough. The pediatric ICU at UPMC Children's Hospital felt both familiar and foreign to Nathan. Same antiseptic smell, same beeping monitors, but now it was Meera in the bed, not him visiting her. She lay still, lightly sedated to manage her anxiety, oxygen flowing through the cannula. Her small hand rested in his, though she'd pulled away when she was awake. Nicole sat on the other side of the bed, her eyes red from crying. She'd arrived at the hospital shortly after the ambulance, having been the one to alert police when she'd come home to find Nathan's laptop open to Dr. Kelner's employment history and signs of a struggle. The front door ajar. Nathan's car still in the driveway. Detective Walsh had acted quickly once Nicole identified Dr. Kelner as the likely suspect. A property record search revealed he owned a cabin in the Laurel Highlands, listed as a secondary address in his hospital employment file. State troopers familiar with the area knew the remote location. They'd coordinated with local units who'd hiked the area before, racing against time to reach the isolated property before it was too late. Detective Walsh entered quietly, a folder in her hand. "How is she?" "Stable," Nicole answered, her nurse's training keeping her voice clinical. "Her lung function has deteriorated. The pulmonologist thinks it's from inconsistent treatment. Sometimes he gave her proper medication. Other times he missed doses or gave incorrect amounts." "I have Dr. Kelner's confession," Detective Walsh said, pulling up a chair. "He's been in interrogation for 3 hours. You need to know the truth, but it's difficult." Nathan nodded, steeling himself. Dr. Kelner admitted to inappropriate contact with Meera during her hospital stay 2 years ago. It started gradually. He spent extra time with her, gained her trust and yours. He told her the touching was part of special treatments to make her better. She was 3. She believed him. Nathan felt nauseous. Nicole's hand found his across Meera's bed. "It went on for months," Detective Walsh continued, her voice professional but tinged with disgust. "He said Meera was starting to resist, asking why other doctors didn't do the same special treatments. She'd mentioned wanting to tell Mommy about the games that felt weird. He panicked. So he took her," Nicole whispered. "The night she disappeared, he used his key card to re-enter through a service entrance. The cameras there had been broken for weeks. He knew because he'd been the one to damage them, making it look like wear and tear. He gave Meera a sedative, told her they were going somewhere special to get better. Wheeled her right out through the loading dock." Nathan's hands clenched. All those nights wondering what had happened, and the truth was worse than any nightmare he'd imagined. At the cabin, he continued the abuse. Told her that her parents had died, that he was the only one who could take care of her now. Classic grooming behavior, isolation, dependency, normalized abuse disguised as care or love. "The wheelchair?" Nicole asked, her voice shaking. "Why dump it now?" His colleagues at UPMC were getting suspicious. Not about Meera, about missing supplies. He'd been stealing medications and equipment for 2 years to treat her. HR was building a case. He knew it was time to run, but couldn't take identifiable equipment. He planned to relocate with her, start fresh somewhere else. Detective Walsh turned to Paige. "Given his employment history, the pattern of administrative issues at multiple hospitals, we suspect there may have been other victims over the years. Children who were too young or too scared to report inappropriate conduct during examinations. We'll be reaching out to his former hospitals, but these cases, they often go unreported." Nathan closed his eyes. "More victims. What else did he say?" Nicole asked about what he was planning. Detective Walsh consulted her notes. He admitted that initially, that first night, he'd intended to kill her. He was terrified she'd tell someone about the abuse. But once he had her at the cabin, he couldn't do it. He kept her instead, continued the abuse. He said he always knew it would end badly, but couldn't stop himself. "God," Nathan breathed. His baby girl had been hours from death that night 2 years ago, saved only by her abuser's cowardice. He documented everything medical, Detective Walsh added. Not the abuse, he's not stupid, but detailed logs of her treatments, medications, growth charts, even videos of what he called their life together. Birthday parties, her playing in the cabin, all carefully edited to look normal if anyone ever found them. Will she remember the truth? Nathan asked. What he did to her, what we meant to her before. The psychiatrist says memories from age 3 are often fragmented but not gone. With proper therapy, she may recover some memories of you. As for the abuse, that trauma is likely to surface eventually. She'll need extensive therapy to process what happened and understand it wasn't her fault. A nurse entered with evening medications. Her protocol is complex, she said gently, but we have his medical records to work from. We can keep her stable while we develop a proper treatment plan. Nathan watched the medications flow through Meera's fore. His daughter was alive, but carrying scars he couldn't see. He keeps insisting in interrogation that he loved her, Detective Walsh said as she prepared to leave. That what they had was special, and we're destroying it. Claims you'll never understand the bond they shared. She shook her head in disgust. Typical predator trying to romanticize abuse. What exactly did he plan to do? Nicole asked if he hadn't been caught. He was going to take her to another state, start over with new identities. He had fake documents prepared, birth certificate showing him as her father, medical records under a false name. When she got older, Walsh paused. He admitted he knew eventually she'd either remember too much or age out of his preference. He said when that time came, he'd handle it. We believe that means he would have killed her eventually. After the detective left, Nathan and Nicole sat in silence, watching their daughter breathe. Tomorrow would bring the beginning of a long journey. Medical treatments, trauma therapy, the delicate process of helping Meera understand that the man she'd trusted had hurt her, that her real parents had never stopped looking for her. She's alive, Nicole whispered finally. That's what we hold on to. She's alive. She's safe now, and we'll help her heal. Nathan nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. His little girl had endured 2 years of hell disguised as care. But she was strong. The same strength that helped her fight cystic fibrosis would help her overcome this trauma. They would make sure of it. The monitors beeped steadily, marking each breath, each heartbeat. Proof of life. Proof that despite everything, their daughter had survived. And proof that the monster who'd stolen 2 years of her childhood would never touch